Hello and welcome to Lilith Astrology. I'm your astrologer, Adama, and thank you for coming to my channel. If you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to click the bell so you can get an alert each time I upload a new video. So welcome to another installment of my Rising Sign series. So we are going to go over in depth the mutable signs and what it's like when you have one of these mutable signs on your ascendant or on your rising, as we say in astrology. So the mutable signs energy, basically let me first go over what signs are actually mutable. So we have the signs of Pisces, we have Virgo, we have Sagittarius, and we have Gemini. So just a little reminder about what a modality is or what mutable means. So modality in astrology, we have three. So we have fixed, we have mutable, and we have cardinal. So in my other series, I'm doing all of these energies and breaking them down by sign. But our mutable energies are basically our more flexible signs. So fixed these are more stubborn and solid in their opinion. Once they form their ego early in life, it's a little bit difficult to change these people. Once they form an opinion, it is no shifting or swaying these people. For example, Scorpio is a fixed sign. Leo is also a fixed sign. Taurus is also a fixed sign, and Aquarius. So when we have mutable signs, these people are, they can take a lot of different viewpoints to form an opinion. For example, like how Gemini really has this duality, that is like their opinion. They listen to both sides and they listen to different viewpoints, and then they form their opinion, but that also may change 2 weeks from now. So there's no certainty with signs like these. Same with Pisces. Pisces is a little bit more of a go with the flow type of water sign as compared to the other water signs like Scorpio is very fixed. Virgo is also, it's a mutable earth sign. So really, these are the types of people that take on data, take in analytics, take in their surroundings, and they form an opinion based on logic, and they may look at different sides as well. And Sagittarius, all about higher learning and expansion through life experience and through learning. So, it makes sense that these signs are very open and can kind of shift their perspective from one side to the next. So basically, and I'll go over this briefly because I did in our other modality series, parts of the series. A rising sign is also called the Ascendant, and that is what sign was at the east or the eastern horizon when you were born. So this is really the lens that you see the world through. This is really how you come off to people when you first meet them. This is why it's difficult. People, when they meet me, they're like, oh, you're an astrologer, guess my sign. And I'm like, do you know your rising sign? Because I'll have an easier time guessing that unless, you have a double sign, double rising and sun, and then I can see through that mask a little bit easier. But basically, this is how you come off to people. Mine happens to be Cancer. This is a cardinal sign, and I've gone over that if you want to check that out in another video. But basically, that's how you come off to people, and that's the vibe that you give, that's the impression you give off. And it also lays out the structure of your chart and how the houses are set up and how your life path is set up. A lot of the time, having the same ascendant with another person is a great form of compatibility because your birth charts are set up in a similar way. And especially if you're around the same age, you can have a lot of the same planetary placements, give or take some degrees. So I think it's very important to know your rising sign. And the way that you can find that is by knowing your birth time. So that's why it's just extremely important. I don't give readings unless someone knows a close to accurate or accurate birth time, because I can't see really how your houses are set up and where your planetary placements truly are. So, you know, the rising sign is extremely important. That's why I'm doing a whole series on it, because I feel like it's also the basis of astrology and your astrological makeup. And, you know, another, you know, energy that the rising sign is past life energy. So this was a sign that you were in another, I guess you could say, dimension, or in another multiverse, in another time, before you are living out this karma. That was a past energy. So that's why it's still apparent in who you are. And it's something that is subconscious. It's honestly also, the rising sign is not really something that you just are like, I'm going to act like, you know, a Cancer today. I'm going to act like a Gemini. That's just not how it works. That's just how you come off. And it's just naturally how you are. And a lot of it can be learned too from past life, but then also as a child. And it can say a lot about how you were treated as a child and what experiences you've had, because that's just your subconscious way of being and walking through the world. Don't forget, new on Lilith Astrology, we have memberships. So if you love this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget, check out my memberships below for even more amazing content than this. Support the work, support your Black female independent business. So now on to our next mutable sign, the sign of Virgo. So let's start off with the first house. So Mercury rules the sign of Virgo, and Mercury is the planet of communication, thought processes, analysis, and short distance travel, and how we get from place to place. And so it also rules the sign of Gemini as well, which I just talked about. But you know, there's a reason why Mercury is ruling these mutable signs that are all about communication. And with Virgo, it's more of the analysis and the detail-oriented side of Mercury. Instead of skimming over topics, Virgo really wants to understand pieces of a bigger topic and be able to completely make logical sense out of these topics. So when you have Mercury ruling your chart and you have Virgo in your first house, that is how you come across to people, is you can be, you know, the grounded one that wants to, you know, make sense out of certain situations, that wants to also, you know, you can have the tendency to pick apart certain situations and be able to see the flaws and what should be tweaked or changed within a situation. So this Virgo energy is that persona that you, you know, give out to the world. These people are also great communicators and can really, you know, they can be like a great journalist or editor or mathematician, maybe even lawyer, people that are just can absorb a lot of knowledge and information very quickly and then be able to regurgitate it back. So these are very, very great communicators. So moving on to the second house, Virgo risings have Libra, the seventh sign of the zodiac, in their second house. And your second house is about earned income, self-worth, how you earn a living. So when you have Libra here, this is another indicator of someone who could really be interested in a career in law or in, you know, in justice, or doing what is right and balanced and fair. They also can be very creative and seek, you know, the aesthetic ways of making a living, whether it be like a hairdresser or an artist or art curator. These people really do have an eye for beauty, and they know how to monetize, you know, areas of life like this. I think they also could place some worth in aesthetics and how they look, and they want to make sure that they are presentable to the world. I don't think a Virgo rising would really want to go out of the house looking messy. This is something that they really take seriously. So they always leave the house impeccably, you know, dressed. And obviously this is about the entire chart. It's not just about this particular house, but when we're analyzing the houses as they are without planets and aspects, these are very meticulous people. And this comes across in the way that they present themselves as well. And they really feel their self-worth is definitely tied to this. Also, their self-worth can be tied to relationships and how they relate to others with Libra in their second house. So they can form partnerships in terms of how they earn an income, and they feel comfortable in those partnerships because they need the other to offer their point of view and to offer their perspective to in turn make money from their endeavors. Moving on to the third house, Virgo risings have Scorpio. And it's very interesting. Virgo and Scorpio are technically a great match, not only because of their elements, earth and water, but for a Virgo rising, Scorpio energy triggers the third house of communication. So these people really like to dive deep in the way that they communicate with others, with Mercury ruling their chart and Virgo at the ascendant. Not only do they have this meticulous way of presenting themselves, but they are very intuitive and like to go beneath the surface, and they don't like surface level conversation. They really also, you know, they may have, when they were in early childhood and at school, really loved topics that were deeper and loved to, they may have loved psychology. They may have loved learning about, you know, different occult beliefs and spirituality and reading about things that are, you know, hidden and a little bit spooky. So this is a very interesting energy to have in the third house. They may also be either extremely close with their siblings, or on the other end of the spectrum, may have had some difficult situations and some karmic energy in terms of their relationships with their siblings. So moving on to the fourth house, we have Sagittarius for Virgo risings. And in its pure essence, having Sagittarius in your fourth house of home and family, where your IC is and your emotional foundation, this was a lucky place for you. This is where you grow and expand, and this is where you've learned a lot in terms of your life. Your fourth house really has, and your father specifically had taught you a lot, and this is where you really grew your wings to be able to fly and pursue your midheaven, pursue your career. So you had that stable foundation where you could experience growth and luck and abundance. And I think you do like to be home. Virgo risings do love their familiar surroundings, and they do love being at home because that is another place that they thrive and that they enjoy to be. When the fourth house is also has the sign of Sagittarius, Virgos are very proud of their heritage and the roots that they come from. And no matter where they travel abroad, they always feel an extensive amount of pride for where they come from. And they always are just very excited to get back to their roots and get back to their family and get back to their familiar surroundings. So moving on to the fifth house of creativity, romance, fun, gambling, self-expression. This is a very fun house. And actually, you guys have the sign of Capricorn here. And so this is a very interesting energy to have Capricorn in such a fun house. This is where Leo is comfortable and the sun. So when you have Saturn ruling this area of your chart, having fun was delayed for you. As a child, you may have just been a serious student, a serious child, serious and, you know, acting more grown up than other people who have different energies in this part of their chart. So that could have been delayed for you, and you may have not had as fun of a childhood as you could have. And also love and romance could be also, you may have had to learn some lessons in this area of your life before finding the right person for you. Or you may also tend to date people that are more mature and older than you. And you also may need structure. Like Virgos are an earth sign as well. They need structure and they need, you know, to feel grounded in their relationships. So this Capricorn energy in your fifth house of love and romance, it brings a seriousness to your dating life. And so Virgo risings don't necessarily like to just date for dating's sake and to just have fun. They really want it to they really want to build, and they really want it to go somewhere, and they really want to feel grounded. On to the 6th house, and Virgo has the sign of Aquarius in your 6th house. Very interesting to have Aquarius in the 6th house. So generally when Virgos are going about their day-to-day life, the 6th house is ruled by Virgo and Mercury. And this is really how you go about your day-to-day life, whether it's going to work, your exercise routine, the type of foods you eat, the errands that you run, the places you go. It's a very repetitive energy. And so people who have Aquarius and Virgo risings who have Aquarius in their 6th house, you actually really don't like the mundane. You really want to feel freedom in your day-to-day life. You really want to experience new things and go and meet new people. And you really like to involve a lot of different types of people and a lot of groups of people in your everyday life, which is very interesting because, you know, Virgo in its sun essence, in its sun energy, not in terms of the rising, really likes routine, and that's what their sign is all about. But a Virgo rising, in terms of that area of your life, you actually have that Aquarian quality about you, and you want to shake that up, and you don't want it to be mundane and everyday. You may also look into alternative ways of taking care of your health and exercising. You may be into yoga, or you may be into more new age and spiritual ways of healing your body and taking care of yourself. So definitely Aquarius in that part of your life kind of makes you a little, you know, offbeat and different when you're going about your day. So moving on to the 7th house, Virgo risings have their opposite sign or partner sign, Pisces. So in relationships, Virgos tend to display, they are very selfless, and they can, you know, on a low vibrational scale, they can be self-sacrificing, but when they've kind of matured and gotten over that, they can be a very empathetic, loving partner, having Pisces in their 7th house. And that is what they seek in another person. So they attract, because they're logical and, you know, grounded, and they're an earth sign, they attract someone who's of the opposite end of the spectrum, who exhibits some Piscean qualities about them and can teach them how to be, you know, more selfless and emotional and empathetic to others. So moving on to the 8th house, Virgo risings have Aries in the 8th house. So this is the house of change and how you personally transform in your life, how you experience alchemy and go through your life in order to grow and advance as a person. So your personal power in this life is being independent, being strategic, using this independence and this strategy to move ahead with, you know, fierce spirit. Aries is such a fierce sign of the zodiac. It's the first sign of the zodiac. So, you know, when you exhibit, so it's, you know, second nature for a Virgo rising to analyze everything first, weigh out all the options, and see, you know, what the safest choice is. But when you're harnessing this Aries in the 8th house energy and kind of just move forward and blaze ahead, that's where you can experience personal power and change in a more pivotal direction in your life. So becoming more independent and worrying a little less about the details, which I know is difficult for a Virgo rising to do, but kind of scaling back that energy a bit and really moving forward and blazing forward and thinking about yourself first. Because at the same time too, you know, you have to take care of yourself to be there for other people. And so taking care of yourself and amplifying your personal power is super important for a Virgo rising. So moving on to the 9th house, we have the sign of Taurus. So not only is home life expansive for you, as we have you guys have Sagittarius in the 4th house, but having Taurus in the 9th house, seeking travel and expanding your knowledge through study and higher learning and education, gaining wisdom from experience and meeting other people can actually be a way that you can create a living for yourself and create an income and create material wealth. I think that Virgo risings can, they want to break out of their routine with this Aquarius 6th house. And when they do break out of, their comfort zone of just staying at home and being in their personal surroundings, they can experience a lot of growth and abundance through travel, through things like going to college, or things like, even if it's not going to college, taking a course in something completely new, meeting new people, experiencing new cultures, experiencing new things. I think these people also can have a lot of great ideas. The 9th house is not only higher learning, but it's like the bigger ideas that we get. It's the bigger visions. It's, dreaming of a huge corporation and then being able to make it a reality. So if you have Taurus in the 9th house, you have that capability to make big dreams and big vision and goals into a concrete reality and to make an abundant living off of them. So moving on to the 10th house or midheaven, and Virgo rising has Gemini. So Mercury not only rules your chart, but Mercury rules your midheaven, and your midheaven and 10th house is your career, how the world sees you. That's like the ultimate place that you get to when you achieve your life goal and achieve what you have been put on this earth to do. That's how people see you and the public sees you. So someone who has a Gemini midheaven is, meant to communicate their ideas out to the world. They are meant to communicate the news. They are meant to, write and speak and be seen as a change maker and someone that can completely shift people's perspectives with their thoughts and with what they have to say. Having Gemini on your midheaven, it's a definite big indicator of a career in communication and just being able to speak your truth out to the world and sway opinions and amplify the voices of other people who may not have a voice. So definitely Mercury is just all over your chart, and that's something, to really think about if you haven't pursued a career in communication or speaking or writing or a medium where you are talking to others. To look into that and, see if that's something that you would want to do. So moving on to the 11th house, Virgo risings have the sign of Cancer. So not only, kind of like with, Scorpio in the 3rd for Virgo risings, Cancers also trigger the house of friendship and your network and groups for Virgo rising. So that's a great energy for Virgo to be around. And having Cancer in your 11th house really makes these people want to nurture and take in people that they meet, and they really value the relationships of people around them in their network. And any loose connections or any friendships they have end up becoming way deeper because they feel emotionally attached to their friendships and to the people that they know in their life. I think also they could be a champion of women, or really just gravitate towards, female energy with having the sign of Cancer, which is such a matriarchal sign. I think also you can kind of be the mothers of your guys' friendships and the people that you meet, and just come across just very maternal in the way that you treat others. And I think that you also could really, if you, became a parent one day, really utilize your network and utilize your support system to, help you feel secure. A lot of you need security in numbers and need to feel nurtured by the collective and by the group. So last house is the 12th house, and Virgo rising has a sign of Libra. So the 12th house is where things that are hidden are. And so whatever sign you have in your 12th house, that is a little bit of an energy that's a little more of a hurdle for you to exhibit and to harness. And so Virgo risings come across very reserved. They don't want to be the center of attention. They can be very quiet. They need to analyze the situation before they jump into it. Whereas Leo energy, if you were a Leo rising, you have no problem kind of jumping first head into a group, being the center of attention, being, funny and witty and just commanding the room. But Virgo has that energy on their 12th house. So in this life, this is a little bit of an energy that you may, try to work on and try to break out of your shell a little bit more and, be a little bit more outgoing and be able to speak up and talk to people and relate to new people. So, and this kind of also goes back to you guys having a Capricorn 5th house. So the delay with fun in your 5th house and the delay with feeling like a child and harnessing your inner child and that, playful spirit, that's, that was a little bit delayed for you. But then now with Leo in the 12th house, that is another indicator of things being delayed on that, in that front, or things just being suppressed or hidden in terms of your child's, playfulness and creativity. And I think some of you Virgo risings may not believe entirely in the fact that you're creative, or you may have creative skills that you've hidden and are too afraid to share with the world because they're not perfect enough or because you think they're not good enough. So I think that's something to really work on is not everything has to be perfect all the time. Not everything has to, be in its exact place. Sometimes things that are fun are just messy and don't come out right, and you just try, and if it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, it doesn't, and you just do it for the fun. So I think that's definitely an opportunity for Virgo risings, definitely in this life. So that was my rundown on the mutable sign Virgo. I hope you guys enjoyed this series. Don't forget, new on Lilith Astrology, we have memberships. So if you love this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget, check out my memberships below for even more amazing content than this. Support the work, support your Black female independent business, and I will see you on the next rising sign video. Bye.